Before I started the program, I became a travel agent, but it was not for the world. It wasn't for having a niche and like making money. It was for me to get discounts. It was for me to have discounts for my family, me and my kids, because I was going through a very bad divorce that was taking forever and it was costly. So I was trying to find like ways to cut out the middleman and be the plug. And I experienced that, and I had of course started posting pictures of me and my kids and the trips I was taking. Like I told you, I got a logo made to celebrate the emancipation of Tay. And sure enough, everyone kept asking, can they come with me? Can they come with me? I want to go.
First of all, I'm really enjoying the content. I love the way you laid it out. It's so simple and easy to understand, step by step. I can tell that you're like an A-type personality because you literally like step by step by step by step. So I don't ever get lost. Well, so far I've never gotten lost. And you know, and I need that. I need somebody to literally show me one step at a time how to do stuff, where to find stuff, where to go. And you're so great at answering questions. Your response time is like amazing. I mean, I'm even surprised. I'm like, is she really responding to me at 5 a.m? Like, she's
I like that I'm able to be professional. Even though it's just me at home at my little desk, you would think that I have like a whole grand business going, because I booked, like I told you, a little, the wedding thing, and I did a landing page, and she's like, wow, this is amazing. And I'm just like, yeah, you know, I learned that in like a week or two. So it's just great to know that I can, you know, be a professional without having to put out all those $1 million ads and commercials, you know, because it's being advertised already, travel on the news. You know, all I'm trying to do is letting you know how I can help you. So it's just a good feeling to know that, number one, I'm growing in the travel business, but then number two, I can add other services that I don't have to only depend on my group, but the other services that we learn about that we can do in the inner circle. So I think I'm excited because I want to be a serial entrepreneur. So I think I'm heading in the right direction. So I'm excited.
That I have received in this program, I never felt I was alone. You know, I could go in the group and post a question, or, you know, somebody will send me a message, just give me that little encouragement. And, you know, I think that really is like the top of the line for me in this process, was just the support that we all gave each other. You know, it wasn't a competition thing. It's just that support. We're all in different niches. And anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody who, you know, stuck it out with me, and, you know, and just the love and the encouragement that we shared in this group. I mean, to me, that really topped it.
Well, before I met you, I pretty much was at the point of giving up. I didn't have I was signed up under the industry and with no guidance. And so I was getting to the point where I was just getting discouraged, and was like, well, this is just not for me. I found you, I joined your free group. I enjoyed all the information and knowledge that you gave us, and you was very personal, and I felt comfortable, like I knew you before actually having one-on-one with you. And just the information you was giving me, or with the group pretty much, it made me feel like, okay, I could keep going.
Happy Wednesday. How are you doing today? Let me know in comments where you are watching from and what you are drinking this Wednesday. I missed you guys last week. I was in training and I came back with so much knowledge. And if you are new to me, I am drinking water and I am in the Georgia area. So welcome, welcome. Let me know in comments where you are watching from and what you are drinking. If you are new to this training, you got to talk to me because I love the interaction. So I'd like to know where you guys are watching from and what you're drinking today. And it's okay if you're drinking water because that's what I'm drinking. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I'm supposed to be drinking a certain amount of water a day, and I'm probably not doing, not probably, it's a fact that I'm not drinking the amount that I'm supposed to drink. But definitely when I do these lives, I like to make sure that I am staying hydrated. All right, so we got some Atlanteans. Nice to have you, a fellow Atlantean. I am not too far from Atlanta. We got Alabama in the house, so nice to have you guys. Welcome. You know, when I miss you guys, like I try to come live every week, but you know, I've got a schedule, and I had this training booked, and I was gonna try and do it. I flew on Wednesday. I'm actually flying next week. Yeah, let me talk a little bit about what I'm doing next week. So. No, I'm flying on Thursday, so I'll be here Wednesday. But I, at the spare of the moment, am going to the Black Travel Summit. Have you guys heard of that? Do you know where the Black Travel? Have you heard of? Like I had heard of it, but I didn't realize it was for travel agents. I thought it was for travel consumers. You know, the melanated travel type of thing. But it's for us, so I'm super excited to be have the opportunity to go there. So. I'm going to be in Florida by next week at the spare moment. That was not planned. So, but I will be here next week because I thought I'm leaving. I'm actually leaving on Thursday. So I will be doing it live next week. All right. So it's called the Black Travel Summit. I think that's the name of it. Black Travel Summit. I think this is their second annual summit or thing in Miami. It's in Miami, Florida. So I've just got my ticket and I'm super excited because I think that in the travel industry, and you guys can let me know what you guys think, but let me know. I think in the travel industry, I think that the industry as a whole has a lot of work to do to be inclusive to minorities. I think that it has a lot to do, a lot to do in that space. So I part of my vision for our coaching business and our training business is to ensure that we reach more women of color. And I think as an industry that there's greater opportunity for the industry to be more inclusive, particularly in luxury travel. And so I definitely want to try and support those initiatives that bring us together. And I'm just very excited to go there. So I will actually be broadcasting live from there as well. So I can give you guys sort of a sneak peek of how it's going down in Miami next week. I'm pretty excited about this because this is like one of the first. There is another conference that specializes in the it's called the African American Travel Conference or something like that. However, I think that there's a lot of improvement that conference has to do. I've never personally attended. However, there's just not a lot of people of color that seem to be represented from the people that host there and all that. So that's a whole different story that I'll go into. But I will be in Miami next week at the Black Travel Summit. So super excited about that and how that's going down. So last week, I missed y'all because I was getting some education and I got it. And I'm glad that I did it. So I came, I actually, when I was in, where was I last week? I was in Clearwater, Florida. So I'm spending a lot of time in Florida. I was in Clearwater, Florida, and this topic came to mind about the necessity of you. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So before we jump into the topic, I have some questions and I'm going to want you to let your fingers do the walking. But before I start, I got to show off my awesome shirt. So we had a fam trip in Cancun and the the amazing women that I had the pleasure of spending almost a week with. They got me this shirt. I can't show you the back because I don't want to flip around. I may fall because I'm not very coordinated. But they signed it in the back, and I was like, I haven't worn up my Cancun shirt. So I wish I was there right now instead of in Georgia. I do wish I was on an island somewhere, but that is coming. So, all right. So if you are new to me, I'm going to be asking you some questions, and I want to get a feel for who is in the audience and what's going on. And so my first question is, why did you start your travel business? Like, just tell me in a couple of words, why did you start your travel business? Yes, that is the one, Priscilla, the African American Travel Conference. That's funny. I wouldn't pay $700 for Topeka, Kansas either. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit of insight about how my brain, right? Unfortunately, many of us, I'm sure, as women, can attest to this. If you've been in any corporate environment, that you probably are one of very few people who are of color, even if you're not African American, of color in your organization. So that is what I look for when I look for suppliers. I look to see, like, who are their salespeople, their BDMs. I'd like to see who's at the top. And I don't see a lot of women of color. I don't see a lot of color. I don't see that across the industry. And it's a little discerning. Is that the right word? That is a little concerning. Discerning. It's a little whatever that may be. And so this conference, when I found it a couple of years ago, the African American Travel Conference, I don't need to call anybody out because that's not what I'm about, but that's what I did. I went to their page and I went to see, like, who's on the board and who's a part of it. And there was one person of color associated with the event, and it was a gentleman, and I can't remember his name. I can't remember what his role was. But there was no representation. And I thought to myself, how is it that we have a conference that is supposed to talk about being, from a supplier perspective, from a traveler perspective, and there's not any representation? So I was very saddened by that. I didn't go, and I should probably not. I'm not talking bad. I'm just telling you what I did. And but that's sort of what I see across the entire industry. I do see that there is an association of Black travel agents that just started. I believe that she started that organization last year. So, and she's doing great things to try and get that issue identified. I formed, and the reason why I do what I do is because I wanted to get more women of color successful in this industry. But I think that the industry as a whole has a really a lot to do. But that's enough about that. That's on my heart. It has been on my heart for the last couple of months. And so I'm just really excited about this conference, because if you go to that site and you see what's going down on that site and who's going to be represented and the voices that are going to be talking at that conference, there is a lot of people of color there. And that's what I want to see. So love that, and I hope it's a great experience. So I'm very much looking forward to that, because I really would like to support that organization and what they're doing inside of our industry. I was in the only go-to person for family. All right, so here's why you started in the business. People are typing great things. You were laid off. You came to me for came to you for travel advice, and you wanted to monetize that. You love to travel and you love to plan. All right. Let's see. What is Ruth? You wrote something. I want to make sure I got it. All right. So you guys have these really powerful whys that you decided to do do travel. My second question is: are you focused on the areas of the business that you love? That's a yes or no. So if yes, you are focused on those areas, type a 1. If zero, type a 0. If no, type 0. Are you focused on the areas of your business that you love? That is a simple 1 for yes, 0 for no. Are you doing what you love about the business? So you've got this why, but are you doing the things that you love? So somebody is typed 0. Someone typed yes, you are. All right. So while you guys are doing that, so we're getting kind of a mixed bag, ones and zeros, right? And then the other thing is, are you able to do the things? Are you? Let me rephrase that because I wrote this down. Like I write out kind of my questions so I don't forget them. I wrote, are you able to do the things that you want to do in your business? So like somebody just wrote, like the reason why they started is because they want to be able to travel and they like planning. Are you able to do that at the frequency or at the level that you want to do that? One for yes, zero for no. So we've got sort of a mixed bag of people based on no, you're not. Okay. All right. That's okay. That's okay. I always say the first thing to fix the problem is to acknowledge that there's a problem, right? So we've got some zeros on there. So lots of people saying zeros to the last question. So before I continue, let me introduce myself because I sort of have rambled off at the beginning of this session. My name is Sunday Gardner. So super excited to be here tonight. I am the online travel boss, and I come to you every week talking all things launching, marketing, and operating a profitable travel business. And so today, we're not going to talk tactics. We're not going to talk about launching an operation, but we're going to talk about you as a travel business owner and the person of influence inside of your business and what you need to do in order to really position yourself for success. Because frankly, it doesn't matter what you want to do for other people. If you aren't together, if you don't have it straight, it just doesn't matter. Like, it just doesn't matter. And so before I dive into my 5 areas that I want you to be thinking about, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background about me and kind of what my story is. So, you know, I've had, I used to say I had, but we had a brick and mortar business. So we started as a small business owner with in the beauty industry. So back in 2006, my husband came to me and said, we're opening up a barbershop. And I was like, the hell we are. I'm taking this bonus and I'm paying off my car. And he was like, nope, we're opening up a barbershop. And so he dragged me kicking and screaming to open up our first business. And I'm very glad it was the thing that I did. But what I quickly found out about that business and subsequent business is that when you start a business, particularly many of us start businesses and we have no business background. We've never started a business. We've always worked for somebody. You know, even if you're successful, you've got 6 figures or whatever your business story is, starting a business and like doing it for yourself is a whole different bag than showing up to somebody else's business. So when we started in 2006, I was a mad woman, right? And, you know, fast forward some whatever number of years that is, I'm still a mad woman. It's just a different type of madness. But I started in the online space in 2000, I want to say 16 officially, where I do business, and I'm primarily doing business in 2016. And what I learned about that whole time was I kept starting and doing these businesses and creating businesses that I hate. And what do I mean by that is like I wasn't able to do the thing that I love about whatever the businesses that I like that I started. And what I mean by that is there's, like I said, when you show up to work for somebody else, they figure out all the other shit that you got to do. They figure out the people managing, they figure out the administration, payroll, you know, advertising and marketing, and you show up and you do that one job and that's it. When you start your own business, you're it. Like, that's it. Like, you're it. You do all of these hats and these things. Hold on just a second. Brayden, the door, pizza. Sorry. Like, they're like ringing in my Alexa's going off. And you are the person that does all of those things, right? And so what very well may happen to you is you end up getting bogged down by doing all of those things that are, 1, not your superpower, 2, not your shtick, 3, things that you don't even really want to do. They got to get done. And because you don't either know better, maybe you don't have the money or whatever the story may be, you end up being bogged down by those things that aren't your thing. Like, can you guys relate to that? Because that was my story. It was my story with the barbershop. It was my story because, fast forward 2 years later, I always wanted to have a salon. We had split the barbershop up, and it was half barbershop, half salon. And I was like, the barbershop took over and I opened up my own salon. I was like, I wanted to do it. And then, I started our coaching business. I started coaching salon owners, and I kept repeating the same mistake over and over. I kept starting these businesses and getting bogged down by all of the things that didn't bring me joy. And so what happens is I wasn't able to do any of those things that brought me joy because I was too busy focused on the things that didn't bring me joy. Because one, I was being cheap, and two, I'm a hardhead. So I did knock my head several times before I got it. But before I continue, can you guys relate to that? Do you guys feel that way too, that you're bogged down by doing some of the things that you don't enjoy doing in your business, and you're not really focused on the things that is either the thing that you excel at or the thing that you enjoy? Because many of you guys said 0, right, to the last question. Many of you are 0 to the last question. And so that means you're not able to do the things that you want to do. So can you guys relate to that? Yes. All right. That's good, because I've done it. I even have done it. I love what I do now. I get to meet with you guys every single day, and I get to do what I love. But last year, I found myself in the same situation where I was building an organization that wasn't really what I wanted to do. When I started this business, as I mentioned, I wanted to help more women of color be successful in their business, right? But what I was building was an organization that was very similar to my corporate job, right? I was building this sort of mammoth, and I wasn't traveling. COVID aside, I still wasn't able to do the thing that I loved. I wanted to be in the travel industry, not to just coach, but to travel, to travel and to see things and to experience things and to help people do that more. And I wasn't able to do that, right? And that's what I found myself doing. So, it's amazing what I will tell you about God, right? So it's not going to be too spiritual. But I believe that when you're not doing what your purpose is, you will be reminded of that. So for me, that reminder was health. I was working myself to the bone. I was making money, but I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I wasn't traveling. I wasn't getting people to the level that I wanted to see them and enjoy travel at the same time. My back goes out. And I had to rethink what I was doing, right? And I'm telling you now, if you don't stop and do that same thing in the business that you're creating, if you don't design a business that you want, you will have a business that you don't want. Even if you're successfully booking clients, right? I want that to sit with you for a minute. If you don't design the business that you want, whatever that may be, you will have a business that you don't want, even if you're making money. Because you'll look up and you'll be like, I'm working my fingers to the bone to achieve X. And this is really the X that I want, right? I want you guys to really think about that. So that's really your homework assignment is really, if you gave me a short answer to be short and sweet about your why, your why needs to be more than money. It needs to be more than just your ability to monetize, because really it's so easy to make money in this world. Right now, 2022, selling fill in the blank is easier for small businesses than it's ever been if you're good at building relationships. So it's not about the money. It's got to be bigger than that, because shit's going to happen, period. I can't guarantee you anything, but shit's going to happen in your life that's going to derail you from whatever your master plan is, and your why is going to be bigger than money, right? Because I was making money last year. I can say during COVID, I made money, right? But I wasn't happy in the way that we were making money, and I wasn't happy in the way that I had to show up to make that money, right? And so the same thing will be for you in your travel business. Will you be able to sell travel? Absolutely, right? Will you be able to plan, and will you be able to do that? But if you're not traveling, and the reason why you started a business is to travel, right there, you got to rethink. You got to rethink your why, right? If you're not doing the thing that you want to be doing, and it's not tied to money, you got to rethink the design of your business, right? And only you can change that. Only you can stop and be like, what the hell am I doing? I don't want this. I want something else. And then make the moves to do that. So what we're going to talk about today is how do you make that shift? How do you stop in your tracks? Or how do you do whatever you got to do to create the kind of business that you love? All right, let me know in comments. Is that, like, let me breathe because I'm a fast talker. Like, is that cool? Like, are you guys okay with that as our topic tonight? And if not, that's too bad because that's what we're going to talk about. Just let me know in comments, though. Is that kind of clicking with you guys? Somebody wrote this message, so let me read it. I hate booking bargain travel too. I'm with you, Priscilla. I don't like booking bargain travel too. Right? Because, you know, there's a sort of saying that, like, you charge somebody $50, they're going to be your worst client. Charge a different person $1,000, they'll be your best client, right? And so just because you're cheap doesn't mean that your client appreciates you more because you're cheaper, right? It doesn't mean that. Those people that invest in whatever the fill in the blank, their travel, their coaching, their training, whatever, they're more vested in there. And as a result, they show up. They have a different mental game. So bargain, don't get me wrong. I'm not judging, right? I like things on the cheap myself. I'm a bit of a cheapskate myself in some things. But for you to show up in the same capacity. So if you've got a client that is willing to spend $10,000 on a trip that you design versus somebody who wants, like, you know, a $299 trip that around the thing, for you to create the same service model for those two buyers is an error on your part, right? It doesn't mean that the $299 person doesn't deserve quality service, but what I'm saying is that you have the power to design a different service model based on the level that you create your offers on. Does that make sense? Like, hopefully that makes sense. So I'm not trying to say that, you know, somebody who spends less doesn't deserve the same type of quality service, but you don't have to deliver the same amount of service. You don't have to deliver the same amount of things, right? So if you were to do bargain travel, I wouldn't include, you know, a lot of hands-on services that I would for somebody that I'm doing luxury, sort of curated, special, customized travel for. Does that make sense? Let me know in comments. All right, no problem that you're late. Just glad that you're here. All right, so now we're going to talk about my 5 things that you need to be open to in order to design the travel business that you love. Are you guys ready? Number 1 is you've got to be open to learn, right? So I'm just going to let that, marinate for a second because everyone's like, of course I'm open to learn. I love information. I'm an information junkie and I want to learn, right? But you've got to be really open to learn. And I mean from all different types of sources. Now, don't get me wrong. You have to discern the type of learning you need to do because all things that come in your ear don't need to, you need to guard what comes into your ear, right? So everything that's out there, you don't need to absorb and consume, but you need to be open to the consumption. That's right. And you need to position yourself in front of those types of learning opportunities that are really going to benefit you. Meaning, like if you are listening to people who've never started a business tell you that you don't need to do X, Y, Z, or you should do X, Y, Z, and they've never done it, you don't need to be learning from them. Like, does that make sense? So you need to be careful about who you're learning from or who you're listening to, but you do need to be open to learn. I'm 49 years old, and I can say I don't know it all. I probably wouldn't have said that as open as I say it now, but, you know, I am absolutely committed to the fact that I don't know it all. I don't know it all in most things, right? And so my desire to learn about the areas of my life, personal and professional, that I am not an expert in, right? I'm an expert in a very finite, very slither of a thing, right? I know that thing. I'm a project manager. I'm certified. I can get you give me a project start to finish. I'm the best person for it. That is my superpower. Launching businesses, helping you get organized and be able to get that thing done, get what your goals are done. That's my superpower. But I don't have superpowers in everything. So I'm open and I'm hungry to learn for those things. I'm hungry to understand what it is that I need to do to be better in that thing that I'm not an expert in, right? So your number one thing is, if you want to design a life that you see the kind of success that you want, you are doing the type of things that you want, you got to be open to learn, right? And so what I wrote here too is different perspectives. And what I find about travel agents, like those travel agents who really, or travel business owners, because I really think we're more than agents. Agents is such an antiquated word to me. Like, I don't feel like we're agents. We're really designers. We're really experience makers, right? We're so much more. And there's so many different fancy words that you are, but you're business owners and you're more than just an agent. But what I find about those travel, I just talked to a lady earlier today, and she decided at the spur of the moment, she decided to sign up and become take the opportunity. She signed up with an MLM at the time, and she made the decision to just go to Spain on her own. She's a risk taker, like by herself. She didn't have a girlfriend. She had a husband. She said, I'm going to go. I need to learn about this. I'm going to jump and I'm going to go. Right. And that's what I find. Those travel professionals, even if they don't see success today, they're open to learn about new areas, new people, new adventures, new fill in the blank. And you've got to have that spirit of learning about all sorts of things to be able to see success. Does that make sense? Like, that is probably the most important thing out of success that you will see, is your ability. I am not afraid to jump. When I first started in online space, the name of our program and our business was called the Business Jump Off, because I wanted to work with people who were ready to jump. They were ready to start their business. All the shit that comes with the fear, they were like, I jumped, or I'm about to jump, right? So it was called the Business Jump Off. So learning and open to different perspectives and being able to jump and be like, you know what, if I have to, I had somebody tell me one time, this is years ago, it's like, I'm building the ship. You've heard the saying, like, you're building the ship, like, and you're sailing it at the same time. So you're still trying to build the ship and you're sailing, right? It takes a lot of cojones, right? I'm from San Antonio, so I speak a little bit of Spanish, but it takes a lot of balls to be able to start your own business and say, you know what, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to start this thing and I'm going to do that. So you got to still be open to the fact that you may not know how to do it the right way, or there may be somebody who can help you build it faster or learn it faster, and just be open to learn. All right. So I'm not going to beat that one up, but learning and being open to different perspectives, not only culturally, but also knowledge-wise in areas that you don't know. Even if you're seasoned, right? We are probably the most unique creatures in the world, because you right now can make the decision to change your tomorrow by changing the things that you do today, right? That's only us who have that. I mean, I don't know, maybe there's other life forms and they have the ability to do, right? But we are right now, you have the ability. If you want, I had to make the decision to change my business last year because of my health, right? And as a result of that, the business has changed. Like, how I show up has changed, right? You may still see me in the same way, but what we're doing behind the scenes, the types of products and services that we offer are changing. And that's as a result of me making that change. You have the ability to do that as well. If you're not traveling, if you're not planning, if you're not getting the kind of clients that you want, if you're not doing what you want in your business, you can make the decision today to make that change. Only you can do it. And if you want to see it, you've got to make that decision to do that. All right, number 2 is that you've got to be open to act. Like, you can't be scared to move forward, right? And I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't know if that's a secret, but it may be a secret to you all. But it's not certainly not a secret to my team. I'm scared as shit. Like, I am super scared. Like, I am a jumper. But I do let fear keep me stagnant. I'm going to give you an example. So I started in 2016, and since I want to say 2017, I wanted to host a live training event. I wanted to do it. Every year I say I'm going to do it. And I don't do it, because I'm fearful of it, right? And I ask myself, what was the fear? And Nicole, who's on our team, who was instrumental in organizing our first fan trip, she told me, because we made the decision, I want to say we made the decision last fall, that we were going to do a fam trip to Cancun. I don't even think we decided on the location. We were just like, we're going to do a fam trip. Let's organize it. And I was like, Nicole, I'm scared. Right. And I didn't want to act. So the thought that came up from 2017 didn't realize itself until 2022 because of fear. How many of you guys are fearful of doing whatever God has placed in your heart to do and you haven't done it yet? How many of you guys, just type a one, let me know. You don't have to tell me what the thing is, but how many of you have that same experience? You have a thought that's come into your mind about your business, your personal life, and you haven't acted on it, right? Because of fear. What? Tell me, right? So we got a couple of brave people that say one, right? There's a lot of things that I have been given the blessing to have a thought around. Not saying it's the most unique thing, but God put it on my heart, and I've allowed my fear not to allow me to move forward. And I want to say, if you want to design the business you want, the life you want, you've got to move past that fear. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes it takes other people to help you walk through that fear, because I think without Nicole, I would have still been saying, I want to do it. I can do it. I'll think about that tomorrow. I let a bunch of other things get in the way of me actually. That experience that I had in Cancun, small group, it was the best experience for my soul that I could have had. I need to have those kinds of, that is the reason why I'm in the business, right? That is the reason why I show up here every week, because that is what I want to do, right? But I have stopped myself from doing that for 4 years now. What are you doing in your own business, in your own personal life, that you haven't acted on, right? So once you learn a thing, act on that thing. Don't sit on it. Don't wait until it gets a better time, because frankly, there is no better time than now, right? Don't tell me, oh, well, my money's not right, my kids are not right. Whatever the excuses are, I'm going to tell you the very thing I knew then in 2017, 18, that is still true. Fear wants you to stop moving. Fear wants you to stay right here, because 4 years from now, if you don't move and you don't act, you're going to still be in the same spot that you are today. So if you want to do whatever that want is that you said you want to do, and you're not doing it for whatever excuse you've given yourself, me, in your mind, when I tell you that, you're like, oh, well, because of whatever, right? At the end of the day, it's either because you don't know how to do it and you're afraid to go get the knowledge, or you know how and you're scared, right? So it's either you don't have the knowledge to do it or you're scared to do it. And that's it, right? You can tell me, oh, well, it's money. I cannot tell you how many times I've used money as a reason for why I can't do it. But every single time I needed money to do a thing, it comes from nowhere. I'm serious. It literally comes from nowhere. Like, I could have told you I didn't have the money to do this one day. And then once I commit to it mentally, the money comes. So money is in and of itself not the reason why you're doing a thing. Right. So that's what I want you to be really super clear about. Number two is that if you learn a thing, do the damn thing. Like, write that down. Like, if you learn a thing, do the thing. Unless you have a compelling reason why that what you learned is not applicable to you. Don't get me wrong. I've learned a lot of things that are not applicable to me, right? And I decided not to apply them. But if you believe that the thing that you learn is applicable to you, you need to have a plan of when it's going to get done and to make it happen, because time is the enemy of all of us. It is not going to happen. Because I literally cannot believe that it's 4 years since I said I wanted to do this, and it's now 4 years. But that's not how it is, because we're going on as many fam trips as I personally could plan to get us out of town and learn about these destinations. All right, number 3 is reflect. Right? So if you learn a thing, do a thing. And the third thing is reflect about that thing. So if you want a life that you design, there's going to be a whole shitload of mistakes you're going to make along the way. I am the queen of mistakes. I'm here to tell you, I have made mistakes in my travel business. I've made mistakes in my coaching business, in my training business, in my hair. I am just the queen of mistakes. But what I am the queen of, after being hard-headed and stubborn, is that if I sit back and I figure out what I can get from the thing that I've done, what I can get from it, instead of just like, what did I, trying to avoid it, what did I learn from it? I can say that I've there are things that I could do differently the next time I do it. There are things that I got out of it personally, mentally, whatever that may be, that was necessary for the growth that I needed to be on. Does that make sense? Like, are you guys getting that part? Right. So if you do a thing, if you learn a thing, act on the thing, and then reflect on the thing that you've done, right? And to see what you can get from it so that you can make better choices, repeat the things that worked well, do it over again, exactly the same thing. I mean, even with the Cancun fan trip, scared to death of doing it. What was my biggest fear? That nobody would sign up. Or I think my biggest fear was nobody would sign up, or I didn't know how to do it. It was lack of knowledge. So it was lack of knowledge first. I was like, I don't know how to make it happen. And then the second thing was, well, what if nobody signs up? What if I do it and then nobody signs up? I'm going to look like a fool, right? That was the fear of mine, right? You may feel that same way with any group packages that you create, right? What if I sign up and nobody does it? Do you know how many things I've created that nobody has signed up for? A lot. Like, I've done a lot of it. And it's not because the idea, it's because I haven't really, usually when I reflect, I can look back as to why there wasn't signups. I didn't build up the market for it. I didn't attract the right type of client. I didn't do enough marketing for it, right? I can always go back and say, here are the things that I tweak. It's usually not the idea in and of itself. It's the process to facilitate the buy that has been the problem for me. What about you? Can you guys relate to any of that? Let me know. Can you guys? All right, let me read what you guys are writing. All right, that's awesome. Priscilla, we are not going to Barcelona, I believe, or we're going to Madrid. So I actually am working with the supplier right now, and he sent me an itinerary, and it is, I think we're going to Madrid. He said we don't have enough time in that to go to Barcelona as well. So we're did it. Just so this is the cat out of the bag. Our next fam trip. So we've got Dubai under the belt. We're doing that in January, and then we are going to be doing Spain/Portugal next April. So I will be releasing that information for that in the upcoming weeks as we finalize that. So, like, I am so excited about that. Like, that's what I wanted to do. Like, when I signed up to become a travel agent, it was to travel, and it was to see the world. It was to get my family of 5 out of town, right? And I didn't get to do that. And then when I decided to coach in the travel space, I was like, I'm gonna be able to get out of town even more because and then I didn't do it. Like, I wasn't able to get out of town. I was tied behind this desk, right? If you see all of my videos, it's behind some platform like this because I wasn't doing the thing that I want to do, right? Stop doing that, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to do a thing in your business, for your business, about your business, do it, right? And design the business around that thing, right? So if you love playing, why aren't you doing more of it? What can we do to get you more? It means you need to get more people who know who you are, right? Europe is, it's Europe or bust. Ole, that's so funny. That's so true. Like, I'm so down Team Europe, and I've never been. Like, I don't know how I'm a coach, and I've never been to Europe, but we are going to make that happen next year. All right, number 4 is, right? So we said if you learn a thing, act on the thing. If you act on the thing, reflect on the thing. Number 4 is be open to change, right? Be open to change. Whatever you learn, whatever you reflect on, whatever you know, be open to change, right? Shut your mouth. Open your mind, right? Shut your mouth, open your mind, right? Open your ears, open your thoughts, open your consciousness, everything. Be open to the change that is necessary for you to be able to realize what you want. And I don't say that lightly because I am stubborn as hell. Like, I am stubborn in my ways. I'm like, I know how to do this. I don't, like, my husband will tell you all the time, like, I know how to do this. I don't need you to do it, right? And so he told me something a couple of weeks ago. He goes, you just don't want to do that thing because you're prideful. And I was like, what? And I had to shut up and I had to listen to that. I was like, you're right, right? I had to shut up and I had to listen, right? I had to be open to the fact that I may be stubborn and I don't want to change and I want to do things the way that I've always done them and I don't want to think about. So if you learn and you act, right, there's some things that I'm very fluid about, but there's some things that I'm not very fluid about. So I always have to self-reflect and be like, okay, well, what do I really want to do? And suck it up, right? That's exactly right. I need to suck it up. And so the reason why I can tell you this, and I can be super honest with you all, right? Because I feel like I'm in a safe space. The reason why that it's so easy for me not to travel is because I don't like, it's not comfortable. I don't like flights. I just don't like all of the activity required to get out of town. It's comfortable to sit behind my desk and talk to you all, right? It's comfortable. But then to figure out how to get all the moving parts, right? To plan out how the team is going to be able to do that, right? That causes me uncomfortableness and it causes me angst. So I want to do what's comfortable, right? But if you change, you got to be willing to be uncomfortable, right? Does that make sense? Like, so I feel like I'm a rock star at running businesses, right? But I'm not a rock star in my personal life and enjoying my personal life and designing a personal life that's great, right? Because it's not comfortable for me. It's not comfortable to try and figure out how to get my kids out of their rooms and talk to me as teenagers, right? That's not comfortable, right? But I've got to be the one that's willing to change because they're not going to do it, right? Your clients aren't going to do it. You've got to do it. So you've got to be open to change. That one for me is probably the hardest one because like I said, I have pockets of comfortableness that I like. I'm very fluid in my business, but on a personal level, changing like interactions and all that is a lot harder for me. But I know designing this life, because my life is more than my business, right? Your life is more than your business. But designing for sure a business that you love, you got to be willing to change out of things that are not comfortable for you and do things that are not comfortable for you. So that's number 4 is change. And number 5 is it's sort of a not intuitive type of thing, but I love it. You got to be open to share. We are in a social media world. I know you guys know that, but I'm going to say that because I want you to think about it a little bit differently, right? People have the opportunity to get up and close and personable with you as much as you will allow them to. And you've got to be open to being transparent about who you are. Give people the opportunity to love you as you are. Like I've spent most of my professional career with an alter ego that's sort of, shown out to corporate America, right? That's, I'm a woman of a certain age. And, I think millennials don't have the same type of hangups with that as we do, who are old, women of a certain age, right? And so, when I grew up, and many of you can relate to this, I grew up in a single parent household, strong Black women, and it was like you shut up and put up, and you give your best and you show your best, and you don't show anybody who you are behind the scenes. You don't do that, right? But here's the shift that I had to make, and this is a shift that you will have to make. The more that you can share your knowledge, your story, your experiences, travel, non-travel, whatever you're open to. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you to like open up your life story and share every single thing and have cameras at every walking moment. If that's your thing, that's fine, right? I'm not suggesting that. But what I am suggesting is that people are hungry to want to know who they do business with. And as a travel professional, you are bringing experiences. You're bringing major experiences to people's lives, experiences that people will treasure for the rest of their life, right? And if you are not somebody, and I'm not afraid to say this, right? I haven't traveled all over the world, and I can't say, I've been to Timbuktu and back and beyond, right? But I know me sharing my story will give somebody the inspiration, though, but I sold Timbuktu and to the end of the world, and you can too, right? But letting people know that you're on this journey with them and being open and transparent about your story is a way to get people to relate to you more. What people don't want is a perfect person, right? People don't relate to perfection. They admire it maybe, but they don't relate to it. Right? If you want to sell a certain thing and you haven't been, and you open up your storyline about the journey that it's going to get you to wherever it is that you've never experienced, right? That is going to endear people to you. So don't be afraid to share your knowledge, your experiences, and be transparent to whatever that looks like for you in your travel business. Okay, so here's what we do really bad, I think, in this industry is we share trip costs, but we don't share experiences, right? If you look at people who are really doing this game, and I don't mean game, but doing this business well, they travel and they share their travel. And I don't mean just with the hopes of trying to sell, but they really are opening up their lives in a way that allows people to see how they are experiencing their lives and how you too can as well, right? So don't be afraid to open up. So I'm going to touch a little bit about knowledge though, because people may be, well, if I tell people how to do a thing, then they won't use me as a travel agent, professional, whatever you call yourself, right? And that to me is the furthest from the truth. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there. There's Expedia.com, there's Google, right? And people can Google trips and they can do all that. But what people don't have, and they have less of it by the minute, is they don't have time. They don't have time to create and design. Now, don't get me wrong. You will find people who are after the very cheapest deal in the world, right? But the ideal client that you should be after is the client that really understands what time is worth, right? And that's what you provide. Not only do you provide time, you provide a sense of protection that they can't get on their own because they don't know. Does that make sense? Like they don't know. And anyone who's been in the business actively booking prior to COVID and booked had bookings in 2020 when COVID hit the fan, right, understands now the value proposition that you did. Just the hours of time that we spent trying to recover our clients' money, trying to get them rebooked, trying to make sure that they were, where they needed to be, they knew the information that they needed to have. That right there is invaluable. If anything, our value proposition to the industry is even further instantiated by the pandemic and what's happened over the last 2 years, right? So you need to position yourself as that advocate, right? And share why and share the information as to why you are the bomb.com and why you're worth the services that you provide to your travel clients. All right. So that's my 5. Let me know before I go. What do you guys think? Like, how do you guys feel? Like you learned something. How do you feel about what you learned? And are you ready to act on those things? And what's like your biggest number one takeaway from what we went over today? Because after that, the pizza man, as you heard, just came and I'm going to go get myself some dinner. Let me know in the comments. What's your number one takeaway? What's the number one out of the 5 things that we did? What's your number one aha that you got out of today's trading? Yes, you are doubly valuable. That is so true. You are doubly. Say that 10 times. You're all doubly. You are doubly valuable as a healthcare professional. So I thank you for your service and whatever you may have gone through over the last 18 months. And so that's right. I love it. That's right. I want you to learn a thing and act on that thing, right? And I love what you said. I know. That's awesome. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you are in the Atlanta area or want to travel to the Atlanta area, I've got an amazing offer for you all. So we just dropped a little sneak early bird. We are about to open up enrollment at the end of this month. If you are interested in joining me live, I said it live, not virtually, 3 days in the Atlanta area for business foundations on steroids. So listen, if you're not a virtual learner and you want to start your travel business, or maybe you started and you need some foundational, I am going to be teaching it live in Atlanta, July 15th, 16th, and 17th. And so I'm giving you guys the opportunity to sign up for the waiting list, and you will be able to enroll the week of the 26th of, what month are we in? June, the 26th of June. So Jalen, if you are out there, if not, I will post the link to sign up for the waiting list. And let me tell you how it's going to go down. We were just working on the itinerary. I think we've secured the spot for sure. But what's going to go down that weekend is if you Listen, I've got a program. We're not going to really talk about the program. You know, it's an 8-week program, but what we're going to do in 3 days, if you want to learn and act, that is the weekend for you, because we are going to learn a thing. We're going to do a thing. And my goal for you at the conclusion of the weekend is that you are positioned to launch or relaunch your travel business on that weekend. I am so excited to be doing this live. This is another thing that I've been wanting to do for years, is to host a live training. And I think the time is now. So we put it on paper, and things are sort of falling into place. So I'm super excited about the fact that we're doing it. And so this is how the particulars are going to work. So the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th, there's going to be 2 levels. We're going to have a full VIP day on the 15th. You do not have to sign up for the VIP, but this is what the VIP day is going to have. We're going to have suppliers, travel suppliers. We're going to have some very special classes that are going to happen on the 15th. So if you've already launched and you want to relaunch and you want to have some very specific mindset, CEO mindset, we're going to be teaching there. We're also going to be teaching how to book profitably, how to ensure that you are maximizing your profits when you're doing your bookings and creating your packages. We're going to be doing that on the VIP day. So that's going to be a full day with me and my team. And then on the 16th and 17th, we're going to be going over your foundational items. So again, it's going to be a learn it and a do it type of weekend. And that's how we're going to do it. So VIP tickets is going to be $297, and then regular general admission, which will be the Saturday and Sunday, will be $197. What you're going to want to do is sign up for the wait list, because that is only going to be available for 5 days for you to enroll that week, and then the price goes up, and then we'll do general enrollment. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you want the link, because I don't think Jalen is on, if you want the link, just put R2L. I'll get you the link to the wait list. You'll get all the information when we launch, and I am looking forward to seeing you guys in Atlanta. This is a great opportunity to work in person, dedicated time, get the foundations of your business set up and ready to go. You know, we won't be able to go through everything, but we will get through a crux of those items. We'll get our hands-on knowledge and information and support in that weekend. And I'm super excited. So if you want to get on the waiting list for our Ready to Launch live event in July, just put R2L. I'll get you the link so that you can sign up for our waiting list. Listen, it was a pleasure talking to you guys. I am out of town next week, but I will be coming live next week, next Wednesday at this time. And I cannot wait to see you again. And for those that will be joining me in Atlanta in July, save the date, July 15th, 16th, and 17th. And I will see you soon. You guys have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.